Before we begin, please remember that this video is for informational and educational purposes only. It does not replace psychotherapy, psychiatric or medical treatment, crisis intervention, legal advice, or any other form of professional care. If you are experiencing severe emotional distress, suicidal thoughts, trauma reactions, substance use problems, or concerns about your safety or someone else's safety, please seek help from an appropriately qualified professional or emergency service. Most of us have done something we sincerely regret. Perhaps you contributed to someone's hurt, lied, relapsed, betrayed another person's trust, acted irresponsibly, or failed to live according to an important moral or ethical principle. When that happens, you may think, I did something that violated a value or standard that matters to me. That recognition is important. The question is what you do with it. In rational emotive behavior therapy, or REBT, we make an important distinction between unhealthy guilt and healthy remorse. People sometimes use those words interchangeably. So the distinction I am making here is about the underlying thinking, not merely which word you prefer. REBT does not encourage you to deny responsibility, excuse harmful behavior, minimize its consequences, or pretend that whatever you did was acceptable. Quite the opposite. It asks you to look honestly at your behavior and take appropriate responsibility for it. However, it also asks whether condemning yourself as a whole person will help you do that. Guilt usually contains two judgments. The first may be accurate. I behaved badly. The second is a much broader, typically dysfunctional conclusion. Because I behaved badly, I am a bad person. That second judgment turns an evaluation of your behavior into a condemnation of your entire self. You may tell yourself, I am terrible, I am worthless, I am a complete failure, or I should never have done this, and there is something fundamentally wrong with me because I did. Notice the shift. You are no longer judging a particular action. You are attempting to assign one total rating to yourself as a human being. That conclusion does not logically follow. A person can behave dishonestly without being nothing more than a dishonest person. A person can fail without being a total failure. A person can act selfishly in one situation without proving that every part of that person is selfish. Even serious or repeated wrongdoing does not transform a complicated, changing human being into a single behavior or character label. This is not just a philosophical distinction. Global self-condemnation can have practical consequences. It may contribute to shame, hopelessness, rumination, defensiveness, withdrawal, avoidance, or self-hatred. Instead of concentrating on what you did, whom you affected, and what you can do now, you may become preoccupied with proving how awful you are. Ironically, this can interfere with responsibility. If acknowledging what happened seems to confirm that you are worthless, you may become defensive, hide what you did, avoid the person you hurt, or give up on changing. Your emotional energy becomes focused on attacking yourself rather than improving your behavior. Healthy remorse is also painful, but it has a different focus. Remorse says, what I did was wrong. I dislike my behavior. I hurt someone, and I want to take responsibility. I want to repair what I reasonably can, learn from what happened, and behave differently in the future. The important difference is that remorse evaluates the action without turning that evaluation into total self-condemnation. It keeps your attention on your behavior, its consequences, and the responsible actions available to you now. Remorse does not require you to feel comfortable. Some emotional pain is understandable when you have violated your values or harmed another person. The purpose is not to make the discomfort disappear as quickly as possible. The purpose is to experience concern and regret without converting them into a declaration that you are worthless. REBT supports this distinction through the principle of unconditional self-acceptance. Unconditional self-acceptance means recognizing that you are a fallible human being whose behaviors can be evaluated, but whose entire worth cannot be reduced to one total score. You are not one unchanging thing. Throughout your life, you will act helpfully at times and unhelpfully at others. You will succeed in some situations and fail in others. You may behave generously on one occasion and selfishly on another. You can evaluate each behavior without pretending that all those different actions add up to one final rating of you as totally good or totally bad. Unconditional self-acceptance does not mean approving of harmful behavior. It does not mean escaping consequences, pretending that mistakes do not matter, or demanding that other people forgive you. It means separating your judgment of what you did from a sweeping judgment of everything you are. Instead of saying, I am a horrible person, you might say, I behaved poorly and I strongly dislike what I did. Instead of saying, because I failed, I am worthless, you might say, I failed in this situation. But this failure does not define my total worth as a person. Instead of saying, I deserve to suffer forever, you might say, I can accept responsibility, face the reasonable consequences, learn from this, repair what I can, and work toward behaving differently. This change in language is not a trick for making yourself feel better. It represents a more accurate way of thinking. It also directs your attention toward actions that may actually matter. Healthy responsibility may include admitting what you did without minimizing it, listening to the person you hurt, apologizing sincerely, making restitution when possible, accepting reasonable consequences, and changing the behavior that caused the harm. In some situations, it may also require professional treatment, legal guidance, a recovery program, or firm safeguards against repeating the behavior. An apology alone is not always enough. Saying that you feel terrible is not the same as repairing harm. Remorse becomes meaningful when it is connected to responsible action and continuing behavioral change. It is also important to recognize that taking responsibility does not give you control over the outcome. The person you hurt may not forgive you. A relationship may not be restored. Some consequences cannot be reversed. And some losses cannot be repaired completely. Unconditional self-acceptance does not require you to deny those realities. It helps you face them without adding the conclusion that you must condemn yourself forever. You can accept that you did something seriously wrong, accept that another person may remain angry or end the relationship, and still refuse to define your entire existence by your worst behavior. If you are struggling with guilt, ask yourself whether you are evaluating a behavior or condemning your whole self. Consider where your emotional energy is going. Is it going toward self-hatred and endless punishment, or toward responsibility, repair, learning, and change? Ask yourself what responsibility you can reasonably take now. What can you acknowledge? What consequences must you face? Is an apology appropriate? Can anything be repaired? What safeguards or changes would make it less likely that you will repeat the behavior? You might also ask, if I experienced remorse rather than self-condemnation, what would I do differently today? The central REBT distinction is straightforward. Guilt says, I did something bad, therefore I am bad. It tends to move you toward shame, rumination, avoidance, and condemnation of your entire self. Healthy remorse says, I did something bad, and I remain a fallible human being who can take responsibility, learn, and work to change. It moves you toward accountability, repair, and more constructive behavior. You cannot change what has already happened. You can decide how honestly you will face it, what responsibility you will take, and what you will do next. Condemning yourself for the rest of your life does not undo the harm. Learning from your behavior and making a sustained effort to live differently may not erase the past, but it can influence the person you choose to be from this point forward. Thanks for watching this video. Please share a comment or reaction to the video, or perhaps even suggest other topics. Have a great day.